Hotep Senu Hena Senut Itir and Ishaka Nugukemet. I hope you're doing well. Hotep Senu Hena Senut Itir and Well, the sound is loud and clear, so that's one good thing done. Now, let me go back. Okay, I'll look at this later. All right, so this is part 2 of what is the meaning of Kemet. Let me share the screen so we can go through the slides. Yesterday it was a bit slow, no participation, so I decided to call it a day and entitle the video part 1. So this is the follow up. I think that was the last slide here. So let's put the pen. And now let's go. As usual, I have shared the invite link for those who would like to get on the panel, but you must show your face. If you don't want to, it's cool. You can still participate in the chat. If you have any questions or comments, then feel free. All right. I'm feeling like double checking that this was definitely the last slide. So I'm going to go to yesterday's video. And for those who don't know, you must have noticed if you watched the video, yesterday's video, or if you watch today's video, that it's not something that I'm saying. Whatever definition we have, it's not coming from me. It's not my hypothesis. It's not my opinion. It's what scholars say. Yes, it was indeed the last slide. Good. So let's move on. James T. Allen in his Middle Egyptian, page 464, is also recommending Faulkner's concise dictionary of Middle Egyptian. And here we have it on page 286. Now, for those who didn't know, it is handwritten. The glyphs are handwritten. We don't have the transcript, computerized transcript, or computer font, or however you want to call it. So once again, page 286. Here we do have Kem. First, the I6 glyph, then the owl, which serves as a phonetic complement, which means that without the owl, it is still the same sound. And finally, the determinative of the lock of hair, which is a determinative for a couple of things, including skin indeed. And it's highlighted, definition, black. We have some variation underneath. Then we have Kemet. So we have the I6 Gardner reference I6 glyph with the owl once again, then the loaf of bread, and finally the Newt glyph. And what definition do we have for Kemet? The black land. And then it says Egypt. And we have some alternative spelling. Finally, we don't have any mention of black there, but people can come up to their conclusion if they want to. We do have the Kem glyph with the loaf of bread, and then the determinative of the seated man and seated woman, plus the mark of the plural. And Faulkner says Kemet collective Egyptians. So Faulkner as well gives the definition of black for Kem. Look at this. We have someone who is surely not his name. He wrote, "This is boring and useless." I have just started 5 minutes ago. If it's boring, why are you here? Sometimes it's a bit difficult to figure out trolls, but you had your 30 seconds of fame and prepare yourself to bounce. You're going on holiday. You're going on vacation. So, of course, no content at all. And he joined on May 25th, 2022. He doesn't have anything at all on his channel. And usually, that's how the trolls are. So, first, vacation, and then disappearance. Message remove. Everybody that comes on the chat will not see your message. So, congratulations for your contribution. It was brief. It was clear, straight to the point. And that's about it. So now, let's continue. I'm done with the recommendations of James P. Allen. Now we have a book by Theophilo Benga, Dr. Theophilo Benga, PhD. Now, the original in French on the left, La philosophie africaine de la période pharaonique, 2780 à 330 avant notre ère. And on the right, we have the English translation, African philosophy, the pharaonic period, 2780 to 30, let's say 330 BC. So the page number is for the French. I don't have the English version, I have the French version. And here we do have the chem glyph, the owl, the loaf of bread, and the nude glyph. And what does it say? Kemet. Copt is French for Coptic. Kemi. Others will say Kemet, which is Egypt. And then it says, oh, what happened there? Must have hit the wrong button. I did hit the wrong button. Let me share it again. Let me put the pen. Oh yeah. Okay, so Kemet, Coptic Kemi, which is Egypt, literally le pays noir. Le means the, pays means country, and noir, as we have seen, means black. You can ask any French speakers. All right. So Dr. Theophilo Benga also gives us black as a definition for or meaning for chem, the I6 glyph that people describe as some crocodile skin, and others like Shekanta Diop, and also one moment. Others like Shekanta Diop, and also I don't know which one of the two, but there was a book by Mark Collier and Beer Manley, and I have shown recently that they also describe the I6 glyph as some charcoal, a piece of charcoal. All right. So that was page 233. But on page 239, we have more information. So just like previously, Kemet, Coptic, Kemi, le pays noir, which means the black country, i.e. Egypt. Then it says the black country in the uh, concrete and exact sense of the words, like in Black Africa. I'm not sure if in English people really use Black Africa. I think people use more Sub Saharan Africa than Black Africa. But recently, even in the French language, people tend to use Sub Saharan uh, Africa more than Black Africa. Back then, it was used a lot, but maybe it's no longer used like that because of political correctness. So it is a human geography. We designate in one and the other case the country by the racial color of the inhabitants. For example, you have the Arabic Bilad es Sudan, which means the country of the blacks. And Egypt in Hebrew is Misraim. And I'm not fluent in Hebrew, but you probably heard that the im at the end is a mark of the plural, just like Elohim is a mark of the plural. So Misraim most likely means the Egyptians. And for those who are familiar with Arabic, some of you might know that in Arabic, at least Egyptian Arabic, Egypt is called Misra. And it's obviously from the Sinaitic dialect, now known as Hebrew, Misra, Misraim. Oh, another thing, same book, same author, of course, page 314. Now, we have the word for pupil. Check that. This is definitely how you call it. Yes. So it's the pupil, the eye pupil. In the Pyramic text, O kingdom, the pupil is named Hunet Imet Iret. Well, I first read the transliteration, but if you look here, that's how to pronounce it or how to read it. It's the same, really. This metaphor is found elsewhere in other languages. Kore, the young lady, or let's say the young girl in Greek, pupila in Latin, in Spanish, la niña de los ojos, in Arabic, insan el ain, the person in the eyes. And the black of the eye is pronounced kem, kem. Now, first, what happens is we just have the K and the M, and then when we pronounce it, we just add the vowel E as the standard convention of Egyptology goes. And the white, which represents well, I don't know if you call it sclerotic in English, but we have hedge. Okay, hedge also has other meanings. So I guess I can stop here. The most important is that the black of the eye is also chem. You see? So some people are trying to say it has nothing to do with color. So far, that's not what the experts and specialists say. Then we have this book here by Claude Obzomer. This is the English translation of the French original. And there we do have chem with the determinative. And it says black and dark. And underneath we do have Kemet. Now this guy, if you have a couple of minutes, you can look up his credentials. Antonio Loprieno. It's quite heavy. In terms of credentials, quite heavy. Now, in his book entitled Ancient Egyptian, A Linguistic Introduction, we have something that was already mentioned in one of those other French books. Now, CT stands for coffin text. So CT 2342B. Here we have the transliteration. And at the end, you see KM. And as we read, it says, as foresaid, it happened that he transformed himself into a black pig. And we have Sha'i Kem. So the black comes after in the Medu Neter, of course. Kem stands for black. So he went against him. So we have Set that transformed himself into a black pig. And what is the word for black? It is Kem. So far, the scholars, the experts, the PhDs are somewhat in agreement. So that was page 111. Now on page 131, here we have some Coptic. And the translation goes as follows, but as for me, Anok, I am Anog, black, U Kame. And you see the root, Kame, just like Kem, that I am black. So we can see that even with the Coptic, it does match. And I don't know if some of you remember, because we have Anok. According to the transliteration in Medu Neter, Middle Egyptian Medu Neter, I am will be pronounced Enoch. And I've made a video showing some comparison or similarity between the Hebrew, because if you look, which part is it again? It's the part where it says, I am your God. I think it's before the 10 commandments are given. And in Hebrew is Anoki. So we have the same consonants. So we could argue that we have the same root. And in the Coptic, we have Anok. Now the Coptic comes after the Hebrew, but the Medu Neter comes before the Hebrew. And finally, on page 132, we have the phrase NE. Now the J, for those who missed yesterday's live stream, has a phonetic value E, just like the letter I. So NE to me in 149, and again by the subject of the nominal sentence, Ang u kame, I am black. So kame, black, the same thing, the same root from kem. All right. And the Coptic is still used today. It is a spoken language, a living language, spoken by many people, but still used not only for the church. It's not only a liturgical language, but it's a language that people speak at home. Now, we have that book here. We have two different book covers. I happen to have the one on the left, but I've put the one on the right so that you can see here that it says Musée du Louvre edition. So edition is publishing, what you call publishing. So the publishing is the Louvre Museum. And here you do have the logo of the Louvre. And the author of this book is Christophe Barbotin. And in the back of that book here, we are told that he is the curator of the Department of Egyptian Antiquities in the Louvre Museum, and he teaches epigraphy, Egyptian epigraphy, at the School of the Louvre. So that's quite something. There's this artifact. I actually made a. I actually have the picture of this artifact from the Louvre Museum, and I shown that artifact in a video that I made a few weeks ago when I was addressing the TLA and saying that we should take caution because the transcript that they show is not necessarily what we see on the original. But anyway, here we have the line numbers. The one that we're interested in is the one that says X8. Now I will show you a close-up. The picture is on page 141. The translation is on the previous page. First the close-up, then we will see the translation. So here you can see better. Line 8, and we're interested in that part here. We do have the chem glyph. Before we have the word Hes, there's a few derivation or alternatives, but it's a word that means something like praise. Then we have the chem glyph with the phonetic complement of the hour. So let's look at the translation. So you see here, page 140. We're interested with line 8, and it says, appeared in his shape while I am amongst his servants each day. I will praise the black. You notice black, we talked about this. Now this is the masculine form of the word black. If it was a feminine form, we will have an E at the end, but it's still pronounced the same, with or without the E at the end. And in parentheses, the author lets us know that he's talking about Usir. And many of you probably heard that Usir was described as Kem Ur, the great black. You see? So once again, Kem is translated as black by one more PhD. Now, this individual, I'll show you where you can find that book. The name is quite particular to me. I don't know if that's maybe he changed his name, but it would be quite a coincidence that his surname will be Toth. Well, actually, it's Toth. It's not Toth is usually spelled Thot. Actually, now that I think about it, but I couldn't help to think about Toth. So Gabor Toth, Introduction to Middle Egyptian Grammar through Ancient Writings. Page 23. We have Kemet, literally the black. So it's consistent. And hold on. Oh, I don't know why I have a. I will show you something. Give me a moment. Gabor thoughts. What's the title? The Egyptian grammar. Below Egyptian grammar. There it is. So let me share the screen. Hey, we have Sister RP who wrote Nefer Heru. Samir. Now Samir, that's the Arabic. It's but who knows? It might have been pronounced like that back in the days. But Semer, let's say Semer, companion slash friend, and you should say Heru Nefer, not Nefer Heru. But I understood what you meant. It's not the day where I am. It's actually evening. It's 10 p.m. It's good to hear from you, Senet. Now, feel free to advertise if you want, sister, because I see you have some products on sale. And if you want to come in and also, advertise it on the panel, I'm good with that. Otherwise, feel free to use the chat. Now, oh yes, let me share the screen. So I've put, I didn't even, but it doesn't matter. About thought Middle Egyptian grammar. Now you see the first result here. I don't know how well it shows. Rogers.edu. No, you don't have to say my bad. It's all good. I was just, no camera right now. Oh, never mind. So, yes. So let's have a look and see what this is, which website that is. So here, we are told this is Rutgers University, but we will go to the URL and we will see. But there, you basically have all the chapters of the book available. It's all on PDF. And I can't remember where, but someone has compiled the whole book in PDF format. All right. So now I'm just gonna do rutgers.edu, and what do we see? That it is indeed Rutgers, the State University of New Jersey. All right. So now I can go back to the slide. Now we have this book here. Now those people, they are not Egyptologists. They don't have a PhD. Just want to let it be known because some people might trip over that and say it wasn't all PhDs. Those two are not PhDs. On page 55 of the Little Book of Egyptian Hieroglyphs by Leslie and Roy Adkins, they are a couple. Now, brothers and sisters, We are told the Nile Valley, where most Egyptians lived, was Kemet, the Black Land, because the silt from the annual flooding of the river Nile fertilized the surrounding fields and turned the soil a dark color, which contrasted with the surrounding desert, which was called Desheret, the Red Land. So we've covered Kemet when it comes to the glyphs, and here we do have the Black Land as well. And another brother who has transitioned a while back, he, as far as I know, is not an Egyptologist. He does have a PhD in Egyptology. He wrote a book called, his name is Ankh Mira. His book must be very difficult to find. Uh, the book is called Let the Ancestors Speak, Removing the Veil of Mysticism from Medu Nature, a guide to the grammar of the language of Kemet. Now, there's a brother. I will get to answer your question, sister. This is actually the slide before last, so I will be with you real soon. And feel free, brothers and sisters, if you have any comments in the chat, because I will be available to read them. I'm going to be through with the presentation. So one of the person that has that hypothesis that Kemet means something else, like riparian land or whatever, he was under the tutelage of Ankh-Mira, and he said it himself, you know. And I don't expect him to say that Ankh-Mira was wrong, because Ankh-Mira is no longer there to defend himself. He has passed away. But that's just for the record. On page 145, we are interested here. Actually, here we have Inek it ch. So it's I am your father, but that would not address a male, but a female. So you see Inek, that's the equivalent of Anok that we've seen earlier. And once again, the Hebrew is Anoke. Oh, yeah. Now here we have Inek again, so it means I am. Then we have Menefit. Now for those who take the class, we've seen that vocabulary. There's another word probably used more often for army, troop, you know. Then we have M, which stands for off, and then finally we have Kemet. So Inek Menefit M Kemet, I am a soldier of Kemet. Literally, I am a soldier of the Black Country. So Ankh-Mira as well translates Kem as black. And finally, Dr. Theophile Obenga wrote a foreword, and that's not the full thing. That's towards the end. And he wrote, it is not easy to write a grammar of pharaonic language. It is more of a risk to undertake such work in the context of the so-called Hamido-Semitic or Afro-Asiatic, which is a linguistic hoax. Indeed, the Afro-Asiatic family does not exist in linguistic reality. All right. So I have shown that contrary to what some people say, Theophile Benga has some degree in linguistics. Now is the time for Africans to understand clearly what is at stake historically and culturally concerning the pharaonic world. In this context, your grammar is an intellectual masterpiece that highly enhances research and culture. I strongly recommend the use of this work in the practical application and learning of pharaonic civilization. Now, when you have a PhD and when you happen to have the one that was with Sheikh Diop in 1974 for the UNESCO Symposium to argue for the blackness of ancient Egyptians. And he says that your grammar book is an intellectual masterpiece, that it highly enhances research and culture, and that he strongly recommends the use of your work, then you're good. It means that a great one has vouched for you, has validated your work. And he ends up saying, your unwavering faith is also, my dear friend, Ankh Mira, ours. It is imperative that we create an international African Association of Egyptology. The future of the research on Egyptology depends on the creation of such a scientific association. You notice that here it says scientific association, not spooky, not religious. This is my sincere desire, and let's start now. Your brother, Professor Theophilo Benga, PhD. So that was the last slide. I can unshare. And now I can go through the comments. RP is asking, how often do you get to university libraries, or do you go to them at all? Well, I don't go to university libraries. Um, I did go to one, but I didn't have any quote. And it was the same day that I went to the National Library where the copies of the Maxims of Ptahhotep is kept. And that's where I got the books for the video entitled White Semites Black Awakening. All those books, who for the most part are in English anyway. So if you haven't seen the video White Semites Black Awakening, brothers and sisters, it's worth watching. It's about 45 minutes. And it shows you that the so-called Semites, Mesopotamians, Sumerians, and what have you, people from the Levant, the Near East, Sumer, Akkad, those people were not black. Those people were white skin, pale, Caucasian type. It's very important because so far people have been claiming that those individuals were black. A lot of time with some linguistic acrobatics and linguistic gymnastics. So after that National Library, I thought, okay, let me try a university, but then I figured, okay, I have enough stuff. And then by chance, I happened to meet a good brother of mine who's from the UK. So I'm glad I did that. But I didn't use any book in that particular uh, university library. So it was a one-off. Though there's another time I actually accompanied a friend of mine who was studying to become a lawyer. So I just wandered around and stuff like that. So yeah, usually I just deal with the books directly. I wouldn't say that going to a library, university will make a difference. What matters is the actual work that you go through. You see, that's what matters the most. Now, most likely at university libraries, you will have some books that will be hard to find, out of print. Thanks to the internet, it is possible to acquire some books that are no longer in print or hard to find, as long as someone is willing to sell his used copy. There are some books that you would just most likely never get if you want to purchase it. So a university library will be a good option. So I was kind of long-winded, but I normally don't go to university libraries. Well, it took longer than I thought. I'm at 41 minutes so far. So feel free, brothers and sisters. I don't mind waiting a little bit to see if there's going to be some participation. If you have any questions, comments, whether you agree or disagree, feel free. If you want to get on the panel, you do have the invite link. It says link to get on the panel, and it says you must show your face. It's at the top right corner of the chat. Don't know if you can see the chat, but I wouldn't mind hear from you, brothers and sisters. Particularly those who never came to say what's up. You know, whether it's the chat in writing or whether it's directly on the panel. Feel free. Some of you have never hollered before. So, but I will continue to go through the artifacts. That was just something for the record. I really hesitated of doing that, but because I was doing some organizing and going through different books, I figured, okay, let me take this opportunity because otherwise I'll probably not just do that. But this is done for the record. You have those experts, so it is done for the record. I'm sure a lot of people who just like to listen to what some people that they appreciate say. I'm sure a lot of them don't have any idea that we have so many scholars that actually translate Cam as black. Now, I'm not going to try to start any conspiracy or anything like that, but you have a few books about Egyptian grammar or hieroglyphic in general, and they have not touched, they have not addressed the Cam glyph. Some have not addressed Kemet. They have not addressed Kemet. Makes me wonder why. They go through the grammar, the name of the gods, the name of different cities. The name of the country is left out, but it's all good. On different books, there's some stuff that you will have and stuff you will not have. So feel free now. But yeah, what I was saying is, I will continue to go through the artifacts from museums. I still have a lot from the Louvre Museum. Then I have others from other museums. And when I say the artifacts, I mean pictures this time. So we can do a little bit of reading. And people who learn the Medu Nature by themselves or with a teacher or some teachers we have an opportunity to just practice. And even those who are not really interested in the Medu Nature or hieroglyphic, um, well, you can just see the art. You can see different pictures, and different artifacts. So from the comfort of your home, you don't have to travel, but there will be a fair bit from other countries. And it's a shame. I mean, we don't have participation. And we're talking about the language, like you must have seen. Well, some of you maybe haven't had a chance yet, but we have Professor Goldwasser who explained, and she's not the only one. She explained that the alphabet derives from the Medu Nature. You know, so the Africans of the Nile Valley are the precursor. I'm not sure you use that word in English, but they are the four. We owe the alphabet to them. You know, so that civilization, that 3,000-year-old civilization in terms of dynastic period, literacy, writing, particularly the alphabet, we owe it to that civilization. And like I said before, some people say that history starts with writing. But it seems that most of us are more interested in fictional stories and fairy tales. But it's all good. It is what it is. But it's not rocket science. It's not very difficult. Like I said before, it's achievable. You know, you can really, really um, learn it. When I go to museums and I see children who know some Mother Nature, I think it's sad that we have so many adults who claim to be so knowledgeable about ancient history. They don't have a clue. And we have children who go to museums with their parents or with their school and they get some knowledge. They get some basic introduction to the culture. The majority of the guys you hear talk about history and black history, you don't see them at museums. You don't see them showing you artifacts in museums. They will quote books, yes, but to show artifacts is something else. They usually rely on some so-called sacred or holy books, you know. So now, since there's no participation and it's going to be less than an hour, but like I've said, what's going to, besides music every now and then, what's going to be quite regular for a little while is the museum artifacts, So if the Meta Nation is not your thing, if Kemet is not your thing, consider yourself warned. All right. So stay safe, stay healthy, and if I'm allowed to, by the nature, I will definitely holler back at you. Hotel. Now, for the record, for those who don't know, I'm giving Middle Nature classes. And here, that's the flyer. Okay? So, those who are interested, feel free to holler at me. If you're not interested, it's cool. But I recommend that everybody who has not yet seen the video, Kemet and Ma'at, before Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, then watch it. It has about 300,000 views and really deserves to have a lot more. I just want to let everyone know who's listening in now and who's going to listen to this stream in the future. I just had my first Meta Nature class by Brother Shaka today, and I've had other Meta Nature lessons by other teachers, and I can tell you right now, the brother is the best in the game. He is that was one of the best classes I've ever had, ever. So if you're interested in learning the Meta Nature, if you're interested in getting the basics of it, Brother Shaka is an awesome teacher. Get with him, and it's extremely affordable. This brother is giving us his time and his skills, and he's basically giving it away. I mean, I just consider it a donation. You know what I'm saying? So if anybody is interested in learning the Meta Nature, get with this brother right here. He's an awesome, awesome, awesome teacher. And I'll end with that.
Hotep Senu, Hena Senut. This is Julie, also known as Servant of Yah, and I'm currently taking the Medu Neture classes with Brother Shaka, and it has been an amazing experience. Only 2 lessons so far, and I feel like I've been taking the classes for months, just with the how in depth he goes into the vocabulary words, the construction of the language, the grammar. It's been immeasurable, the experience. And one thing that comes across, hands down, is his extreme passion for teaching this to anyone who is willing to learn. and has an interest in learning. So I highly suggest, if you are interested, even a minimal interest, that you subscribe to the classes with Brother Shaka. It's such a nominal amount for how much you get. I know, like, our last class was over 2.5 hours. It felt like 2 minutes, but because that's how involved you are in what he's teaching and how he teaches and how compassionate he is about what he teaches. Also, with sharing materials free of charge, no question, no doubt. It's just what he does. He doesn't have to, but he does. And so I just wanted to give a short testimonial about the class and the effectiveness of the class. And all of that is attested to how studied Brother Shaka is. So I highly recommend anyone with a minimal interest that you do sign up for the Medunetya class. Hotep.
Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, which is Ma'at Forever. Don't forget to watch the video entitled Kemet and Ma'at. Don't forget to share Kemet and Ma'at on my channel on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, or other social media that you use. Email, text messages, you name it. Those who wish to donate can do so on paypal.me/ma'atforever.